Welcome to Honest Whispers Preview to Sell. On this video I'll be previewing Kingdom Come Wave 3 Armored Wonder Woman collector action figure. It was released by DC Direct back in February 11th, 2004. This is approximately 6.5 inches tall. It does come with a base, which is kind of behind it right there. It's just a small, simple round or circular base with a little peg, mainly to keep her balanced. Spear and a shield, which is very nicely decorated. It is designed by Alex Ross. Basically, it's from the pages of Kingdom Come by Alex Ross and writer Mark Waid. This is sculpted by Tim Bruckner, who did many of other Wonder Woman action figure statues, and of course many other DC character figures and statues as well. So I'm going to go over 6 different categories to review this. First one, of course, is design. That basically covers the look. And for figures, of course, articulation. This one, it's not really meant to be played with, even though it says action figure. It's more about displaying, and the reason why, as you can see, there isn't much articulations. There's 7 points of articulations in this, and that's basically the hips, shoulders, I believe the wrists, and the neck. As you can see from the side angle, she doesn't have a joint on her knees, so they're basically all it's just stiff. Like, you can't it's not posable or anything like that. So basically you get the basic pose of, I don't know if there's an example here, well, basically the shield goes on her left arm, and the spear, she'll be holding it on her right arm, and of course both arms will be slightly more forward, and that way she'll have a better balance. Or you could have it slightly down like that, and that way the spear is kind of pointing more in an angle. So there is some posability, very light, but other than that, I mean, this is more about displaying the way it is, which is perfectly fine. I usually prefer it like that, because sometimes when they add too much articulation, especially at certain joints or areas, it just creates too many gaps and lines, and sometimes it just takes away, I guess for me, the quality of the look. So the design for this, I'm more of a traditionalist. For me, I like the classic Wonder Woman costume. But for this as a battle armor, first appeared in Kingdom Come and later used in Wonder Woman continuity, I like the overall design, and just being unbiased, just the way it looks, I do like the eagle wings. For Wonder Woman, I would prefer no skirt, but in this case, it works really well with the feathered. It's like a feathered, like eagle feather look to the little skirt, the armor skirt. The knee guard, or the shin guard. I'm sorry, knee guard. Well, actually, it has knee pads kind of on the shin guard, but that's pretty nice. And then, of course, the wings. Now, the eagle head, I don't really like the way it looks, even in the comics, because when Alex Ross draws it, he does draw Wonder Woman pretty good. Now, this is supposed to be more of an older Wonder Woman, at least for the timeline. Don't want to give any spoilers, but basically all the heroes come out of retirement for this one. Now, she isn't all old or anything, but she does have some signs of age. At least that's how he was, I guess Mr. Ross, intended to draw. Either way, the flag, I do like that a lot. That's the only thing that's kind of colored. Now for this armor, it's supposed to be gold and looks really great when it's drawn by, or when it's in the comic book pages, just because the gold has a very shiny, reflective, like a chrome-like reflection look to it. Now with this paint, you can't really get that look. So I mean, I'll cover the painting in the third category, but for this, as you can see, everything pretty much is accurate to it. As I mentioned, I particularly don't like the helmet and the way it has the feathers. Now, I don't know why, for some reason, this isn't Mr. Ross's design, but there are nostrils on an eagle's beak. Okay, the sword, just like the comics, everything is pretty accurate. The design, I give this a high score, an 8 out of 10 on the design. Next category is sculpting, and that also covers the execution and of course the details and the quality of the molding. And for this, the execution is done really well overall. I do have to give it a hit on the nostrils, because that's just, I don't want to be mean, but that doesn't make sense. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, you do see some certain manufacturer flaws. That's probably an issue with the casting, like the cast or the molding. Just on the certain areas of the wings, you can see it's not, certain areas it's kind of like, kind of has like a wiggly line. Now the best part I could show you right here would be this corner area right there between her arm and the sword, and you can see there's a little, almost looks like a little ding. So those are like those minor little flaws, but you really don't see too many of it. Another example would be here where the shin guard armor, because it's one, I don't know if they glued it or something, but it's very, very minor. So the quality of this is done really well. As I mentioned, the way the flag is wavering in the air, kind of very nicely sculpted, very nice effect, how it's twisting, and it just looks realistic. The wings, the armor, details on the sword, details on her hair. They just, Mr. Bruckner did sculpt a lot of the strands too. Shield and spear is kind of simplified, but still very nicely done. Very clean, nice, sharp and straight edges. You can see even her rib cage kind of sticking out. Very nice touch. Now, here are some more molding problem issues. You can see on her wrist, it's almost like it creates a bit of a gap. And then when you look at her left or her right wrist, that one's more smoother, done much better. Fingers, nice details, well proportioned. So yeah, sculpting, definitely a very high score. I'm just gonna give it a hit on those minor imperfections, and of course the flawed design on like little mistakes here and there, like the nostrils. And even when you look at the nostrils from the top, it's not even aligned right. It's asymmetrical. You could see, at least from our point of view, the left one, it's more closer to us than the right one. Or her right nostril, or the eagle's right nostril, is more forward than the left nostril, which shouldn't have any in the first place. So once again, 8 out of 10 on the sculpting. Next category is painting. Painting basically, as I mentioned, it's a simple color scheme. It's supposed to be all gold. All the colors are accurate. They did use imprinting. As you can see from the stars, no human could draw those stars that accurately over and over. So really well done, very clean. I like the quality of it. You could see a bit of a shine to it. I wish the gold had more of a chromatic, like a reflective, how you say, a gloss, a gloss effect to it. So I wish it had more of a shine. That would have made it much better. The colors are still accurate, because you could tell even with the sword's a bit more bronze color, even though her gold color can kind of look a little bronzish. But as you can see on her lasso, that is the gold fabric that they usually use on her action figures. So you can see how it's closer to the armor, although not exactly the same. But the color's well done. Now the eyes I have an issue with. It is symmetrical, and it's not cross-eyed or anything. They're all straight, but of course with the design of the armor, when you look straight, it makes it look cross-eyed. And the fact that they didn't draw any eyeline on her, not that it looks masculine, it just doesn't look feminine. So in a sense, it kind of looks like the face almost looks a little bit boyish, I guess. So I think if they did a little better on the eyes, just draw like eye lines, you know, on the bottom as well, might have made it look better. Maybe a little more like an eyelash effect on the top as well. That might have helped. Everything else is pretty accurate. Everything's smooth. More imprinting here on the shield, very nicely done. So I don't know how durable these imprinted paint are, but the way it looks here, it looks very nice, clean. I'm gonna give the painting score a high 8 out of 10. Next category is packaging, and packaging for this, pretty simple. It is a box with a big flap right there, has an eye hole, a little hook for displaying on the stores. You could see basically all the other figures that's been out. This is Wave 3, Wonder Woman, armored Wonder Woman right there. Now that's Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3. That is the graphic cover of the graphic novel that all these characters and figures are based on. Or at least not characters, but figures. Or at least these version of characters, because you could see here, or even in the artwork, like Superman, he has white hair kind of on the side. So as I mentioned, they're supposed to be aged in this graphic novel. Takes place in the future. So simple black. I thought the Justice line was a bit of an improvement on this, but you can see where it comes from. There is a background. That's a bit of a nice touch. It's just a little picture thing, so that kind of makes it look like, you know, all these characters are standing behind her. So the packaging, it's simple, but still above average. I give it a 6 out of 10. Next category is value. And value, the way I grade value is really more about retail value versus aftermarket value. Does this particular figure have a collector value where you know that 5-10 years from now it's going to continue rising in value? Well, in this case, unfortunately, from my experience, any character or any figures that's kind of, how shall we say, the abnormal type, like for instance, anything that doesn't clearly resemble the way the character is traditionally. So in this case, because it's an armored one, even though this is in continuity as well, it's the demand is not high for this, and that usually makes the aftermarket, or that usually hurts the aftermarket. So this one, I originally bought it for around $20 at a local comic book store. Probably a little bit over because of the tax. And let me remind you, this was released in 2004, so it's been 14 years now, and I would expect something this old to be at least 100% over, actually at least around 200% in value, because that's a long time, and you would expect something, at least that's kind of a hit, to be around that high. In this case, I checked Amazon, eBay, and the average estimated value for this is $40. So in a sense, that's 100%, but for the length of time that it took, just isn't there. And compared to something that's like, for instance, the Wonder Woman from Justice Wave 3 by Mr. Alex Ross, that is a little bit higher at 50. So just to kind of give you a comparison, and that one was released in 2006, so it's 2 years newer and yet $10 more, or worth more. So that kind of gives you an idea. At the least, it is a positive. A bigger bust would be anything that doesn't even sell for its retail value. That would be one of those clearance bin type of toys. And then another one would be something that would be bad would be, if after 10-20 years it's at the same price that it came out in. So for me, this one, at least there is some value that did go up, but not that high. So for the value score, I give it an average 5 out of 10. So overall, final category, which basically accounts the first 5 categories: design, sculpting, painting, packaging, and value, I give this a pretty good score. As I said, I'm being unbiased. I think the armor, from my honest opinion, I have mixed, I have mixed feelings about the armor, half and half. I think she would look way cooler without the helmet, or at least a redesigned helmet where it doesn't look like she's wearing like some little kid's pajamas. Other than that, very nice design, well thought out. It is a cool looking armor, one of its kind. You don't see these type of armors on any type of characters. So I definitely like that. That's a huge plus. I like the way the colors are, especially the flag, the red, white, blue. Looks very clean to me. Just the way it has the it just sculpted with natural wrinkles and everything. So for me, that's a huge plus. I do love the accessories. So you could kind of pose it or display it without the spear and the shield, or you could do it with it. So it does give you some options. My I guess my biggest complaint about this would be, again, just little flaws and mistakes, especially like the nostrils and just the way the face looks. I think would have helped if they had a better, I guess, face or eyes, better painting job done on the eyes. So because I'm sure if you took the same eyes, same color, same eyes, you know, same everything, and put it on a male character, and it'll probably make no difference. So in other words, I would have wanted more feminine eyes to go with the figure. So overall, it's all still pretty good. I give the overall score a 7 out of 10. So to recap, design 8 out of 10. Sculpting 8 out of 10. Painting 8 out of 10. Packaging 6 out of 10. Value 5 out of 10. And overall 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Try Shin Kingdom Come. That's actually not bad read either.